Hi guys, and welcome to Crazy Burger. It's Game of the Month time on your Evercade devices. The game this month is Collie Defense, a tower defense game for your Evercade devices. So without further ado, let's get stuck into the details and play the game. Okay guys, so let's have a look at Collie Defense. This is the new game of the month for Evercade VS and EXP, and this will be part of Indie Heroes Collection 4 that will release 2025, probably February 2025. So let's have a look at the details. I've only played this game very briefly, but we will obviously play it further into the video, and I'll give you my impressions of what it's actually like. But as again, you can download this at your leisure, or you can completely ignore it, and any saves that you create with this will be deleted as soon as you update the firmware again on your Evercade device. This is a 32-bit handheld game. I believe it is Game Boy Advance, and it's basically, I think this might be the first tower defense game for Evercade. I can't think of any other style games like that on the Evercade devices. So if you're a fan of that type of game, you're absolutely going to love this, I'm sure. Personally, I'm not really into them much, although I think my son is absolutely loving this. So maybe I'll even get my son to play this instead of me for a change. But yeah, you never know. So if the gameplay is remarkably better than normal, that's definitely not me that's playing it. So this is actually coming from the Retro Room, I believe, who are the company behind Questoress, Gelatinous Humanity Lost, and also Big Too Small, I believe. Now, I don't necessarily think if they're behind it, I think they maybe just helped launch the Kickstarter to help, obviously, get the physical release of these games out there. So some of the quality of the games certainly have varied that they have released. So hopefully this one is a lot like Big Too Small in quality-wise, that is, if not in gameplay. So you play the role of Whiskey, the border collie, who watches over a flock of sheep. It seems that an army of predators has organised and now advancing on Whiskey's position. So kind of sounds a bit like a tower defence style game. Maybe it's even like a Plants vs Zombies style thing. Ward off all the sort of bad monsters. That type of thing. So pretty straightforward. It looks quite nice graphics. Like obviously this is a Game Boy Advance, so it will be nice and colourful. And should suit the handheld devices perfectly, I would have thought. But yeah, there's loads of details here. I don't think there's any further updates to Evercade. There's no, obviously the patch notes aren't there, but as far as I can tell, it's really just taking away last month's game, adding this one, and obviously a few different things to the library as well that's on your Evercade EXP and VS. So there's no further changes. If you're still waiting on some kind of update for a specific game, then you're going to have to wait. That will probably happen later on in the year. But anyway, guys, without further ado, let's play Collie Defense. Okay, so we start off in story mode, and it starts off pretty straightforward. Press the A or X button, I can't remember what one it is, and it will bring up the menu of what tower defences you have on offer, and then press the B button to place them down, or A button, I can't remember the controls, to place them down strategically to make sure that none of the enemies get through to the end of the pathways. If they do get through to the end, you will lose part of your life, hearts at the top of the screen there. If you manage to actually kill some of the foxes, bears, whatever else comes across, you will get some money back, depending on how strong the sort of animal is. I think the foxes you get about $5 back to your sort of shop account. If it's bears, it's maybe $15. So it's all about strategy and trying to stop those animals from getting through. The first few levels are pretty straightforward, so you need to keep an eye on your hearts. Keep an eye on, obviously, the defences that you're placing down. Well, you need a little bit more, and that's it. So if you've played sort of tower defence games before, you'll be right at home. If you haven't, then It's really one of those games you're either going to love or hate it and maybe not really see what the fuss is about. Personally, I'm sort of somewhere in the middle. I like what they've done here. I think it is pretty cool. And again, it is probably the first tower defense game on Evercade, so it is pretty unique for this platform, which is pretty cool. And my son absolutely loves playing these games. He's a massive fan of Bloons TD and Plants vs Zombie. So he played through this gameplay for me, which is probably quite noticeable because we get quite far into the game. The saddest thing about this is probably there is only 12 levels, and it is pretty basic for a tower defense game. You can't actually sell on the units. Once you've placed them down, that's that. You can't just cancel it, maybe get your money back. You can't change the targeting of the tower defences either. But there's certainly some variety there. There's different sort of tower defences as you go through the game. The enemies get faster as they come onto the screen. It gets a little bit more complicated. You obviously have to keep an eye on your strategy, how much you're spending. So there is that. It is pretty cool for what it is, and as we said, it is one of the first, or if not the first, game of its type on Evercade. And I'm sure, I think if you do love these type of games, you are going to be in your element. Now there is a high score element sort of chase throughout the game, which we'll cover later on in the video. But right now I'll leave you with the gameplay that my son created for me. So thanks to him for doing that for us, because otherwise you probably would have only got to see the first few levels. So as mentioned earlier in the video, there is a section where you can just play through the high score chase. So you can choose one of the 12 levels of the game and then you can try and set the best score possible. Obviously depending how many of the enemies you take out, how many you save, I guess it gives you some kind of rating at the end, and then you can actually share that high score, or you can take a scan of the barcode scanner. It will take you to the website and it will also share. You can take a picture or a screenshot of your actual score, and then you can maybe share that on Discord, Facebook, or wherever you want to sort of save that, and you can compare to everyone else. So it's probably one of the first sort of online leaderboard type thing that we might have. It's obviously not online, but you get my idea. You might have the ability to share that and compare yourself with other Evercade users in the community, which would be pretty cool, and probably one of the first of its type as well. Okay, so my overall thoughts of this game, I think it's actually pretty decent for what it is. It is a pretty basic tower defence game, but as I said, my son absolutely loved it. So it's quite clear it will have its audiences out there, and it is pretty unique for Evercade, so it's certainly got that going for it. Anyway guys, let me know what you think in the comments, and we'll catch you again in the next one. Bye for now.